Hello everyone, it's Cress here with another build in my New Orleans-inspired Glade of Trust. If it's your first time here, welcome, and if not, welcome back to the channel. In today's speed build, we'll be creating a lush botanical garden plot using the new Blooming Flower Shop house skin. I adore this house. The gorgeous sage green and cream-colored facade with the cute little awning above the door just seemed to scream Glade of Trust for me, so I decided to create an overgrown garden center right in the heart of New Orleans. Whether you're here for a cozy build with relaxing lo-fi music or you're here for inspo, please consider liking and subscribing so you don't miss out on more Touch of Magic designs, tips and tricks, speed builds, and tours. If you've already subscribed, thank you. We'll start off with the pathing. I love visiting garden centers in real life to shop for new plants, so I took some inspo from them and went with the loose gravel path with a border. I wanted this build to feel very natural and a tad overgrown, and the gravel pathing really adds to that ambiance. Oh, and just a little snippet about placement. Ideally, I actually would have preferred to not angle this building since I'm basically trying to lay out my glade in more of a city grid with straight lines, but I angled it for a couple of reasons. First of all, with Mother Gothel's tree in the way, I knew I'd never be able to get a good shot of this for my Instagram page. And also, the view from the little restaurant I created for my Tiana's Palace build across the river just looked so much prettier with the flower shop angled. And yes, I did try out building placement a few different ways, like a whole bunch of different ways before hitting record. Originally, I thought about using a fountain here. In fact, the Beauty and the Beast fountain would have been a gorgeous addition. But since there are so many beautiful details on this little shop, like the cute little butterfly handles on the door, I decided to create something that was low to the ground. So I'll use a water rug to create a pond for the center of the botanical garden. Even though we're unable to have curved pathing in the game at the moment, I'm going to try to get creative with the pattern around the water rug to work around it. So I'll go all the way around the rug, cutting out squares like this. I'll start off decorating the pond by adding rocks to hide some of the straight edges. I'm going to use the Glade of Trust rocks, since those are some of the few of this size, or actually I think they might be the only ones of this size that can actually go on rugs. Then we'll add some Glade of Trust rock clusters and finally small mossy glade rocks. I always try if I can to add a water feature to my water rugs just to make them look more vibrant and realistic. So for this one, I'm going to use the cute jungle butterfly fountain from the Lion King collection. I love these little fountains because they're small and they have such a tiny footprint, so if you'd like to add more, go ahead and feel free. They look great clustered together. To add even more realism to the rug, let's add these lily pads from the Dapper Delight Star Path. I realized as I was looking for them, I didn't have them in my favorites menu, and honestly, I use them far too often for them not to be favorites. For foliage, I'm going to use the Pastel Flower Patch. Now, I went looking for these in the wrong menu, although I still can't figure out why they're in the tree menu anyway when they're clearly underbrush items, but anyway. These will frame out the corners and again take away the hard edges. This Magnolia Bloom Path is perfect to blend the edges out even more. Now, I've said this previously, but I'm so grateful that we can use these on pathing now. Oh, and if you want to use the Plumeria path instead, I think it would look great here too. Or you could actually combine the two if you wanted a little bit more variety. I ended up adding 1 magnolia bloom pile for variety, but again, feel free to add more if you're following along. And for the finishing touch on the pond, here's a Glade of Trust fern. Next, we'll work on the path. Again, since we don't have curved paths, I'm gonna once again get creative with the pathing to create a natural diagonal look from the entrance all the way around the pond to the front door of the shop. Ugh, and I am so sorry for the glare, friends. I didn't notice it while I was building, but it's as blinding as if that was really the sun shining on the water. I'll be adding my personal favorite seating all the way around. The Eternity Isle stone benches or even the bamboo benches from Eternity Isle would actually look great here too if you don't want to use these Cinderella ones. I debated a bit which fencing I wanted to use for this. I really liked the idea of using the wood fencing from Mulan to make it look more natural, but in the end I decided on the wrought iron fencing since this is still the heart of my New Orleans build and I wanted the fencing to really tie this build to the rest of the biome. Now these Lion King waterfalls on either side will add some more visual interest and make this feel even more like a little garden oasis in the middle of the city. I added a third one at the back of the left-hand side just to fill in the gaps so you don't see anything behind the shop. Since this is a flower shop, the ancient flowery trees are perfect to frame out the waterfalls. I love the way these curve. It makes them so perfect for framing. And even though they're a little bit of a cooler green, the flowers really tie in well with the flower patch bushes that we used in the pond. For lighting and sectioning off the entire build, I'm using these enchanted cage lanterns. It's times like these when I am so grateful for angling. I just love the way these look on either side of the pond and arching across the entrance. Now it's time to start filling in around the entire perimeter of the pathing, rounding out the straight edges a bit and creating an overgrown look. As I've said in a few other builds, I don't generally like to make things too symmetrical, but I am going to make some of this a little bit more symmetrical as it really helps the build to tie in a bit more with the city vibes. So we'll put butterfly flowers on both sides of the entrance and at the back of the build as well. Then I'll go ahead and add these lily pad bushes to both sides. And then because I just can't seem to resist a touch of whimsy, these giant felt cap mushrooms are going in there too. I also really like these potted tropical plants. They give off the perfect botanical vibes and they're actually only one space, so they fit in perfectly here. I won't be going too heavy on the beach grass since it's a very bright green, but I just love the trick of hiding planters in beach grass to make it look like a cluster of wildflowers growing in tall grass. So I'm going to do that on both sides. I'm also going to add this potted blooming tree in the back here, which I think you get a crafting recipe for once you reorder the Tangled story in the Veil. Now to finish off the right side, I'll add a simple path to Tiana's using the magnolia blossoms, and then I'll add the magnolia tree to droop down over the path. On the left-hand side, I want to use the smaller version of the moss-covered tree. Now, I've used this tree in a few other places in my glade. I love it for this biome because the moss hanging down from the branches looks like the Spanish moss you can find in a lot of the trees in the southern US, so it fits perfectly for a New Orleans-inspired build. In all honesty, this entire back of this build is likely to change as I convert more of my glade to New Orleans. At the moment, I still have Minnie and Daisy back here. So for this build, I just wanted to kind of create something quick and easy that would section off this flower shop. I will probably be placing the LaBeouf mansion back here when I finally get around to that build, as I want to kind of keep this side of the glade a little bit more residential feeling. For now though, we'll be using the Main Street path to lead to a teeny tiny little train station looking area. Again, this is probably not going to stay. I want this pathing to go all the way over to the left here, so I'm going to do some adjusting so that it'll go in next to the beach grass. Oh, and sorry for the weirdly tight angles at some places here between Mother Gothel's willow tree and the trees I added. I was having a hard time getting an angle where you could see what I was doing. For the finishing touches on this build, I'll be going in to add some foliage. Since there's already a pretty crate out front, I'll be adding just a few more to give it that nice cluttery feeling. We have so many gorgeous foliage items, so I'm going to make use of a few of the different varieties. If you're recreating this for yourself in your own valley, though, you can craft some flower pots and cactus pots if you want, for a little bit more variety than the foliage items you can buy at Scrooge's. I love these craftable flower boxes too. I'm tempted to use them all over the place since this is a flower shop after all. But while I love the idea of it being overgrown, I don't want it to be too cluttered. And honestly, my item count is really begging for a restraint on my part anyway. So over here, I thought I'd try something out and make this tree look a little more elegant with the wrought iron fence going all the way around it. But basically, as soon as I put it down, I hated it, so I took it right back out. I feel like this is one of those things that we'll just have to wait until we can curve fencing. Then I thought I'd use the cute little ratatouille lamps like I did on the other side of the river, but I don't have any in my inventory. So I might buy some more and add them, but since this part probably won't be staying anyway, I'm just going to leave it for now. This is a tiny build, so we'll just do a quick little tour at sunset. If you've stuck around, this is my chance now to thank all of my subscribers. Your views and likes and comments mean so much, and each interaction helps my small channel grow. A special thanks and shout out to our channel members. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Your contributions have done so much to help keep the cozy content coming. If you've enjoyed this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please consider clicking that subscribe button. Thanks friends, I'll see you in the next video.